And I'll just conclude by saying that working with the SPMI population, so people who have serious and persistent mental illness, that I've learned so much from those individuals who, during a session sitting, outside, I can have a great memory of one gentleman who just looked up at the clouds and was telling me about this is how he spends a good portion of his day, is looking at the color of the sky, looking at the size of the clouds, all of these things which are grounding techniques that many of us would choose to go and spend thousands of dollars to train and learn how to do, when in reality, you can just slow down and do less to feel better and achieve wellness.
The group that you said you spent a lot of time with, the what's the terminology? The
SPMI are people with diagnoses with serious and persistent mental illness. So schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar.
wow. Um, what's drawn you to that group, and tell me about the things that you love about sort of serving that group of people specifically, and some of the things that maybe you've learned about yourself, and there's a lot of stigmas around folks with mental disorders, right? What drew you to that group initially, and then like what are some of the things that you've learned?
Saying no, setting boundaries, I think is something that crosses over in my personal life to my life as a therapist and as a business owner, that it's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes, saying I'll take care of this for you, I'll do this, but you're not giving people their power to do as much as they can, and then helping to pick up the slack where it is that they fall, right?
Yeah.
So I've really learned to say, you have the ability where a lot of people have heard you don't or you can't, and I'll just do it for you. And I think that's something that has really stuck with me personally in my own life as well. And then other than that, I would just say resilience, right? Resilience goes. Pause that. So as far as resilience goes, just people are told what they can and cannot do, and sometimes we believe that, right?
Yeah.
But I've had so many clients who tell me, I was told that I can't work, I was told that I can't go back to school, but look at me, I'm doing it. And that's such an incredible thing to witness and to validate and to celebrate, that
That's
you can
awesome.
do what you think you can't.
Labeling is so, I mean, we don't even realize what we're doing, right? Many times. And then, there's a group that are well aware of the labeling and sort of how it sort of sets paths for people, right? Which is unfortunate. I'm listening to you, and I feel like I've learned so much by having these young children, and I'm like learning more about myself, every day. And I keep telling myself, we just have to empower them and give them more responsibility, even though it's the long game, right? It would be easier to just do a lot of these things for them. And move out the way. Let me just take care of that. But what are we really teaching? Is that we're teaching them to be dependent versus
Right.
independent, right?
Right.
Um, and but I also know that sometimes I'm pretty patient in general, but I don't always have it when it comes to my babies, and it's like I keep trying to tell myself, my wife, okay, this is the. It may feel like it's long and drawn out, but trust me, we're gonna have more productive, you know, little people that'll be big
Yes.
people because of the route that we're taking, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. With our daughter, she's doing fully remote learning. She's in the third grade. And initially at the beginning of the year, the teachers were saying at that first meeting, if you could help her get prepared for a class, if you could make sure that she has X, Y, and Z done before. And it would be really simple for me to say, okay, no problem, and just make sure that she looked good in class, right? And yet these are those formative years where she needs to have those natural consequences. We need to, of course, provide the support and the role modeling, but otherwise
Yeah.
we learn so much from when we fail, and from when we get that you know feedback from our peers. So she didn't clear her desk one day and it did look messy, and instead of me thinking, oh, the other parents on the call, behind the scenes might see that our daughter's desk is super cluttered, we just let it happen. And one of her classmates said to her, your desk is messy. Why don't you just clean it? Right. And she tidied it up after that. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to always come from us. We don't always have to have the control. But